Look, I know I made a Lonzo Ball video just the other day, but he's been balling. Like, what can I say? I'm not even a Lonzo stan, and I never have been. But the thing is, he's proving a lot of people wrong, and that's good to see. But this video is not just about Lonzo Ball, it's about the New Orleans Pelicans as well, because despite them not having a fantastic record, despite a lot of the hype going towards Zion Williamson, as it should do because he's doing ridiculous things in year 2. Over the last 21 games, forget about the Nets, forget about the Bucks, forget about the Jazz. Who's had the best offense in the NBA? The New Orleans Pelicans. And no, I'm not going to give a lot of this credit to Stan, how does he still have a job, Van Gundy, brother of Jeff Van Gundy, former Detroit Pistons head coach. Stan, how does he still have a job, Van Gundy? That coach, no, I'm not giving him a lot of the credit because I mean, he's figured some things out, but a lot of it comes down to just the players figuring things out and playing at an elite level, particularly offensively. And I think a lot of that stems from Zion Williamson and Lonzo Ball because of their connection, their chemistry on the court, and what they do to elevate their teammates. Most importantly, how their play impacts their teammates around them. I think that's why their offense has been so good and why it's drastically improved over the last 20 or so games. Obviously, Brandon Ingram is still an all-star level player. Like, obviously, we still know that. So this isn't going to be taking away from Brandon Ingram, and I will talk about him. Don't worry about it. But I'm going to focus on Lonzo and Zion because their chemistry, their connection, their impact is changing this Pelicans team for the better, particularly offensively. Now, before I do that, if you could drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, it's free. A lot of people watching these videos aren't subscribed, so it would really help out a lot. And liking the video does help out the video as well, so that would be much appreciated. But anyways, getting back to the topic at hand, to understand just how much the Pelicans have actually transformed offensively, we have to look back at what they were before the 21 games in which they've been the top-ranked offense. And why do I say the last 21 games? Because that is kind of since Lonzo Ball has flipped the switch, ironically since he was called a bust, which we're not getting back into. But anyways, before that, they had the 17th ranked offense in the NBA. Through those 13 games, they were 5-8. They were struggling. Zion was averaging only 23 points a game. Only 23 points a game. I know it was only about 40 games into his career, so it's crazy to say only 23, but his efficiency was slightly down and his assists weren't up. He's averaging 23. I mean, for Zion, that's low numbers, it seems like. I don't think he'll ever get back to that point in his career for a very long time. So that's what he was averaging through the first 13 games. Ingram was doing his thing, but there was still a lot of isolation ball with Ingram. He was taking some tougher shots that he needed to. His efficiency since then has gone up. He's making better shot selections. Now, some of this does have to do with the fact that Stan, how does he still have a job? Van Gundy was pretty much just running isolation balls. Oh, let's just give a dribble handoff from Steven Adams at the three-point line who can't pop out. He just kind of stands there and screens. And then Brandon Ingram's just taking a deep contested two-point jump shot coming off a Steven Adams screen, or Zion Williamson is getting the ball and they're just praying, fingers crossed, toes crossed, that please Zion do something because we've got no offensive plan and we don't know what we're doing. That was kind of how the offense was being run, so it's no surprise that there's been improvements. I mean, Drew Bledsoe's numbers look all right during that period of time, but I don't care because it's Drew Bledsoe. Like, what else do I need to say? Does anyone really care about Drew Bledsoe? Eric Bledsoe, sorry, I mean. Yeah, there was some issues going on to start the season. Lonzo was struggling pretty significantly, which everyone covered. He was a bust. He's not a bust anymore, so people can flip their opinions. JJ Redick was playing like absolute trash. I'm sorry, he's got a great podcast, so he's good at that. And he was doing well at that during his form slump. Surprisingly, his form was going down on the court and off the court, it was going up. So that's something to look at. And now he's getting back to some kind of form. I mean, he's not the player he used to be, but at least he's knocking his shots down. Before he was shooting like 29% and not playing defense or doing anything. So that was a liability. The Pelicans were struggling. But since then, they've been able to flip the switch in terms of three-point shooting. You won't be surprised to hear that through the first 13 games, they were second last in the league from three-point percentage. They weren't getting any open looks. They were getting the least wide open looks in the league. They weren't getting many open looks at all either. They weren't creating open shots and they weren't knocking down those open shots. So it was just a recipe for disaster when it comes to three-point shooting. Since then, there's been some improvements. Lonzo Ball is actually initiating most of the offense now. He's the point guard. Who would have thought putting the ball out of Eric Bledsoe's hands and into Lonzo Ball's hands would help the team. Oh, and Zion's obviously getting a lot more touches. He's running up the floor as well. They've changed the rotation to the point where he's playing with guys like Hernan Gomez and Josh Hart and JJ Redick instead of playing with Steven Adams and all of these other guys. So you can spread the ball around with your best players a bit more, like most teams do, like most successful teams do. That's normally how you play things out, Stan. I know it took you about 15 games to realize. I'm not giving you too much credit for figuring out such obvious things, like put the ball in the hands of your best playmakers and players instead of Eric Bledsoe. It seems quite standard, and it was quite standard, and it's actually working. Lonzo since then is nearly averaging 6 assists a game, less than 2 turnovers. He's initiating more offense, more pick and rolls. His mid-range jumper means he's more of a threat there. He can play pick and roll with Steven Adams, with Zion Williamson. There's a lot of screen handoffs with Zion and Lonzo. There's a bit more offense being created instead of just isolation plays for their 2-star players and hoping that Lonzo or any of these other guys can just feed on the scraps when they get double-teamed inevitably. I think it took a bit too long, but he has figured things out offensively, and he's realizing get the ball in the hands of your best players and run some plays for them, and all of a sudden your offense is going to transform into now the best offense in the NBA. Zion has a lot to do with this because, well, Zion has been doing just a number of things. He's taking the ball up the court. His gravity inside is just incredible. Think about it. So when Zion is there in the dunker's spot, there'll often be one defender just right onto him, draped onto him, because they don't want to give him the ball. They don't want him to even sniff the rim or sniff the ball. So they'll be all over him. And then the guy who's tasked with protecting the paint will often be worried about Zion instead of the guy attacking the rim. That's just how dominant he is. So often there'll be driving lanes opened up. Despite not being able to shoot, he can still open up driving lanes standing right next to the rim. You then have Brandon Ingram as well. Like I mentioned, this video is more about Lonzo and Zion because I think they've been more of catalysts. I think Ingram starting the season, he's been doing the same thing for over a year and a half now. Like, we know what he is, and he's a very, very good player. I'm not saying he's less important than these other guys. I'm just saying these guys have probably been more catalysts for it because of their ability to kind of influence other teammates, whether that's with gravity or whether that's with playmaking or just high IQ moves. I'm not saying Ingram's not one of those people. I'm just trying to say the other two are probably a little bit ahead in that regards, and their game has changed more since the first 15 games, okay? Basically, I'm trying to say that. So Ingram has still been good. His shot selection has improved. He's shooting near 50, 40, 90. He's not trying to play make as much, which I like. Put the ball in the hands of Lonzo and Zion. Brandon Ingram is a good playmaker. He doesn't need to be your lead playmaker. You want Lonzo to be your lead playmaker, and in the half court, give it to Zion, give it to Brandon Ingram. Getting back to Lonzo, he's been able to improve the offense because he does things that a lot of the other players, well, that no other player on the Pelicans can do, and he just reads the defense. He knows when Zion has a mismatch. He gets it into him quickly. He doesn't waste any time. He's not like Eric Bledsoe. He'll dribble for 15 seconds and then realize he's got a mismatch, stumble, throw it off the backboard, and then eventually gets to Zion. No. Lonzo will just feed it into him. No questions asked. He makes the right decision. He doesn't care if he's going to get an assist for it. He doesn't care if he's going to get a bucket for it. He'll pass it to Brandon Ingram if he's got a mismatch. Like, Lonzo makes the right plays. So maybe he's only averaging 6 assists a game, and some people think that's not where he should be, but he's making the right plays. That's what matters, and that's what he knows matters. That's what the team knows matters, and that's why this offense has improved drastically with him at the point guard spot, like it should have been all along. As well as this, the pace of the team has picked up. They've gone from the bottom of the league, around bottom 3, to now top half of the league. It could still be faster. You've got Lonzo, you've got Zion, you've got Brandon Ingram. You can be a faster team. So I could like to see that get up around top 10-ish. But at the moment, it's picking up the pace. Lonzo's playing better in transition. He's getting the ball when they're about to break, which is what I like to see more often than not. I hated before when Lonzo wasn't the guy getting the ball straight away when they were about to break. He's doing that now, and that's leading to more transition points and more points off turnovers because he'll throw an outlet pass to Zion. He'll throw an outlet pass to Brandon Ingram. Or now even Lonzo will attack the rim. He's a lot more aggressive getting to the rim in transition, which is what you like to see. Overall, Lonzo is playing fantastically offensively. We know about his shooting. It's been absolutely lights out. That's what everyone's going to talk about. But every other aspect of his game offensively has also come along, and it's come as a result of more responsibility, and he's really stepping up to the task. And then Zion, I've kind of talked about him, but he's running the ball up the floor a lot more now. Before he was probably getting 1 a quarter maybe, where he'd run the ball up the floor maybe 1 every half. Now he's probably getting 3 or 4 a quarter, particularly when Lonzo sits out. So they're separating minutes a bit more, which is what I like to see, but they operate so well together that it's still good. You want them to play minutes together, but at the same time, You want to get the best out of both of them. And I think getting the best out of both of them is letting both of them have a significant influence on the offense. And they can do that while playing in different lineups. That's why we've seen Zion play with the likes of Willie Hernangomez, who's been really underrated. He's top of the league in offensive rebounds, around top 5 or 6. He just has a habit of getting in the right place at the right time. He's pretty versatile. He can kind of move his feet a bit better than some of your traditional bigs. I think he's one of the best backup centers in the league. He's not someone that's going to catch your eyes, but he does all of the right things. And I really think he's been a huge addition when you consider what Jackson Hayes was providing before. Willie Hernangomez has definitely been an upgrade, and it's something that's not flashy by any means, but he's been good. Lonzo and Zion have that great connection where Lonzo will consistently relocate to the right spots. Another thing that he does well, which I've talked about, relocation. It's an underrated thing. He'll get to the right spots. If Zion or Brandon Ingram, they're getting trapped inside, double teamed, the defense is collapsing. That's why Lonzo gets so many open looks or gets so many good looks. He's so often found is because he's the guy that's in their vision. He's conveniently always placed in the right spot because he knows where to go on the floor. So that's a huge thing that he does, and he does it really well. Better than a lot of people in the NBA. He's up towards the top in terms of that. And that's why he gets so many good looks, because he sets his feet, gets in the right spot, and then shoots straight away. No hesitation anymore. Lonzo Ball is ready to fire. Everything the Pelicans are doing in terms of utilizing their stars, I got to give some credit to Stan. How does he still have a job, Van Gundy? Because he has helped them. I know I've talked about how it's about time. It is about time, and I think it's probably just what he should be doing when you've got so much talent on your roster that is so offensively dominant, have so much gravity, can create from 3 levels like Brandon Ingram. Lonzo Ball is one of the best playmakers in the league and is now hitting lights out from 3. Zion Williamson has more gravity inside than pretty much anyone in the league and is finishing more efficiently than anyone in the league and is doing things that we haven't seen through 50 games. So you should be getting a really good offense out of this team, and you are. So, he's doing what he needs to do. Now, if the Pelicans can actually get any kind of defense, any kind of defense, just a little bit of defense, then all of a sudden they're actually a dangerous team in the West. They could make the playoffs. Even in a stacked Western Conference, they could make the playoffs. But if they consistently play this kind of defense, it's just not going to work out in the long run. But at the moment, all they are is a very good offensive team, fueled by Lonzo Ball, Zion Williamson, Brandon Ingram, and Willie Hernangomez coming off the bench. That's pretty much all I've got to say. Just wanted to give some more credit to Lonzo because why not? Zion Williamson, why not as well? Brandon Ingram, of course. And Willie Hernangomez, of course. None for you, Stan Van Gundy. You figured things out. It's not rocket science. Give the ball to Zion. Give the ball to Lonzo. Give the ball to Ingram. Don't just play isolations. Get a few pick and rolls. Get a few dribble handoffs. Do a few things, a few more dynamic moves with your best players. Yeah, cool. Bingo, bango. Have a good day. Catch you next time. Bye.